All right. This is my wheel method account. So I'm going to share some ideas from the wheel method. I started this particular account only a week ago at $150,000. So in that week, I made over $6,000 on the wheel method. I'm going to go over some individual stocks I have in here, the options I'm selling against them, and then some future ideas. So, number one up here is CoreWeave. CoreWeave is gotten a little rally going on. There's also a rumor, I don't know how true it is, that NVIDIA wants to buy them out completely, and NVIDIA owns a good stake in CoreWeave. I hope that doesn't happen this week because I sold the 125 covered call for $189. But if it gets called, I make good money. I bought the stock last week when it started rallying. Uber. Uber has been a bit of a disappointment, but I firmly believe in the business, and I believe that Uber is building this massive moat that is similar to what Amazon did about 10 years or so ago. Uber, you know how you have the car taxi service, you have Uber Eats, you have Uber Groceries, you have Uber Shop and Pay, you have Uber Freight. In Europe, you have Uber Boats. They're working on the autonomous driving aspect. Also, I could see, Uber flying people around one day. They are becoming the Amazon of transportation. So I think long-term the stock is greatly undervalued. Nike. Nike has had the crap kicked out of it for a long time now. But, Nike is still an iconic brand, and I think if this ain't the bottom's really close. So I took a stake in Nike over here. Sold the 48 covered call, got $19 for this particular week. You're not going to get a lot of premium on Nike unless you're selling at the money, but I don't want my shares called anytime soon. Also, if you're seeing like random share qualities here, that's because I probably had shares called last week. AMD broke out to a new all-time high. I have a few shares left there. Sold the $250 put for $95. I would love for AMD to drop back down to $250 so I can get a sign. Archer Aviation here. Archer still has a long way to go. It's a baby, but it is an eVTOL air taxi company. Also has working with the Department of Defense. It's a speculative stock, but I haven't sold anything on it right now because I need a bigger run to start selling covered calls on it. NVIDIA, I had this call last week at around the 200 level. Sold this week's 190 for Friday, got $35. Not a lot of premium, but I would love for NVIDIA to drop. Big Bear AI, no covered calls on this yet. Did sell a 350 put to try to get more shares assigned to me if it dips again. I love the company Big Bear AI. I think there's a massive future for this with their facial recognition AI technology for security purposes. If they can really deliver and get in all the airports, courthouses, government buildings, stadiums, etc., this could be a monster stock. Monster stock. I have been very disappointed in the management so far because I don't think they're capitalizing on the amazing technology that they have. Palantir, which this is my favorite company, definitely had that one called away a couple weeks in a row when I would buy the shares. I was selling way out of the money, but when Palantir gets going, it gets going. So I sold the 135 put for this particular week. Blackstone, I had this called last week, had one extra share left over. I think I'll sell a put soon on it. I think the stock is undervalued in the long term and the short term. Marvell. Marvell. I bought Marvell in another account before the last earnings when this whole parabolic run started on Marvell. But I'm not buying at $150 a share. Like, it needs to come back down a little bit to earth. I sold the 130 put, got $64, and it's already basically cut in half. But that's how it goes. Um, SoFi, I had SoFi called last week. I had bought in the $16 range and had my shares called on a nice big SoFi run, which, honestly, I think SoFi is a great company, but the stock has been disappointing. But I did sell for May 15th, the $15 put. It's like more than 1% return in a few weeks. It's just there. I did collect $545 in premium based on these sales. I have another 50 something thousand dollars in cash in this account ready to deploy, whether it be selling puts or buying shares and selling covered calls if anything goes on sale. We do have the Iran war risk, that ceasefire is about to end if no deal comes into place. So I have money ready in this particular account ready to go if needed. You're starting to get a lot of big earnings coming up, and especially in the tech world. I'm a little more cautious. I don't like to sell puts into earnings because you never know what can happen. You can see 10% down, 20% down on bad earnings, bad guidance, and then you are really screwed and starting way in the hole with 100 shares, per put. There's nothing I'm seeing right now that I'm loving outside of what I have here. Most of the puts I sold here are pretty much garbage, like just hoping for a dip to get reassigned on those particular shares. But I am watching plenty of the earnings coming up. If I find a company has really good earnings and I like the company and they have good guidance, sometimes I'll just buy the stock and then sell covered calls that way because, take advantage of some of the momentum. But, right now it's kind of a wait and see approach. As for the general market, my view right now is I think we need to come back down to earth a little bit. I'm not super bearish, but the market, the S&P 500 is overbought, and there's no denying that. We went from oversold to overbought within 13 trading days and hit new all-time highs and then hit not more new all-time highs. That's crazy when you look at it like that. So I'm trying to look for those value stocks. My particular goal for this particular account with this wheel method is to collect at least $500 a week in premium and overall try to obtain 30 to 35% gains over the course of a year while doing this to substantially beat the market over the long term. I have a goal of making over $1 million in this particular account in the next 10 plus years while doing this wheel method. And this is a complement to my dividend investing. This is a complement to my day trading. I believe in having many different methods of income in the stock market. So I run it like I am my own hedge fund. So I'm always looking for ideas. I trade stocks, I trade options, I sell options, I buy growth stocks, I buy dividend stocks, I buy ETFs, index funds, etc. Looking for opportunities to capitalize every which way possible because that helps me sleep well at night, knowing that I'm generating wealth in many different ways.